laughter came up on one of my previous streams as something that some people had heard the term laughter is the best medicine, and then someone else brought up that sometimes it's not, and so I wanted to do a little more research and find out some of the benefits and if there are any dark sides to laughter, and there are a couple dark sides which we'll get to, but um, laughter is hands down one of the best tools we have for managing and dealing with stress. Shiny things, also known as Girl Scout cookie moms, texting. There we go. Sorry, Girl Scout cookies during Girl Scout cookie season, like texts from my Girl Scout cookie mom in the troop are priority number one over everything. Um, you guys know that I laugh a lot. I love puns. I love jokes. I just generally laugh quite a bit as part of my personality. I find it pretty amusing a lot of the time, just life most of the time. But it really is. There are research papers, there are studies into laughter showing that it is not only carries drug-like effects, but also that it's very contagious to other people around you. There's one video, I didn't look it up, but you can find it pretty easily. There's one video that there's one video that there's this guy who is looking at his phone or something, and he's on a subway, and he is just laughing hysterically. And if you look on his phone, he's not looking at anything. He's just laughing hysterically. It was a social experiment. So he goes onto a subway and he just starts laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And then people around him, without being able to see what's on his screen or without being able to see anything at all, just start laughing around him, kind of like looking at him like, who's this guy doing all of this laughing? And, so laughter is one of those things that is really contagious. You broke a bone, walk it off. Got to negotiate with the cookie lady. That's the spirit sleigh. Dan McPherson. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. How are you doing today? So it's a physical expression of humor and it's a physical expression of joy, and it has lots of protective qualities. And the field of medicine has long recognized the importance of humor. It's long recognized the significant benefits of the physical act of laughing. In fact, as far back as the 1300s, 1300s, Henri de Mondeville, who's a professor of surgery, propagated post-operative therapy with humor. So even Norman Cousins, who's a journalist and a professor, initiated a trend in his own treatments based on mood elevation through laughter. And he found that even 10 minutes of laughter resulted in 2 hours of pain-free sleep from chronic pain experiencers. And Freud suggested as well that humor might be the highest of the defense processes of the psyche, which you can invoke to guard against anxiety. So there are some real serious measurable benefits of laughter. We're going to go through those and then we'll get to the dark side as well. And then we're going to talk about some strategies to boost your laughter, some ways that you can laugh. Let me pull up this one graphic. Bear with me 1 second while I get this up here. There we go. Okay. So this is just a quick infographic. As always, I will post this to all of my sources, to the infographics, all the studies that I mentioned. Everything will be posted in the Discord after the fact, so be sure you join if I could get a Discord link in the chat, or there is one in the panel down below. So laughter has lots of benefits. I'm going to go through this graphic and then I'll go into some of these in a little bit more depth. So it increases serotonin and endorphins in the brain. We'll talk about those here in just a minute. It replenishes the lungs. So as you are laughing, you are expanding those lungs and contracting them and just giving them a chance to fill up fully and then go down all the way. It relaxes your muscles and eases tension in the body. I have some more statistics on this in particular. So oh crap, what did I just do? Don't do that. Maybe I need to hang on. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. All right, that's better. So if there's a certain amount of time, like I said, I have some statistics here in just a minute, where if you laugh for a certain amount of time, your muscles are actually relaxed for 45 minutes afterwards. And that tension, that physical stress, you have the mental stress, and then there's a physical stress also you carry in your body. So it reduces stress hormones in the body, really important. Protects the heart. We'll go into that in some more depth as well. Increases immune system functioning. I think it's really interesting that of all the things that we talk about so many times, the ties between immune system and your mental health state are tied so closely together. Like it really is kind of all head games, right? And this is kind of a hokey thing, but it says it's the best workout. I will tell you right now that that is not true. It does provide a workout. If you were to do nothing but increase your laughter by, I think, 2 minutes a day, you would lose a total of 3 to 4 pounds in a year, depending on your starting weight and all of that good stuff. But I'm not going to say it's the best workout. I guess if you just laughed all day, maybe it would be. I don't know. So we'll go into a little bit of this, and then I've got some other studies separate from this as well. But endorphins are released into the brain. That cortisol, you hear that about this as the stress hormone all the time. It reduces that, and then it relieves these everyday worry and stress, adds positivity and resilience. We've talked about resilience before. Improves overall happiness and mood, helps ease worry, anxiety, and fear. Best equals most enjoyable. That is entirely possible. That's like 10 extra large vanilla milkshakes. There you go. Look at it that way. And then you're double happy, right? So this goes into some sort of sciencey stuff here, but it's talking about where all of your stress comes from and goes and how you combat that through laughter. We'll talk about the laughter centers in your brain here in just a little bit. So this is smiling and laughing. There are a couple of different things about just best equals most enjoyable. So it depends on what kind of laughter. There are different kinds of laughter too. Like I learned so much putting this one together. I really did learn a lot in researching all of this. Um, so there are a couple things that they tell you whenever you're going to do public speaking. You can do a power pose beforehand, and the other one that you can do is just smile and put on that fake smile and smile, smile, smile until you can't smile anymore. And it's something like 5 minutes. If you smile for 5 minutes, it just sends those positive hormones to your brain, even if you start off with it being fake. So trying something new, Zumba class if you can, but mainly just trying something new can increase your joy. Get in the habit of sending jokes and memes to friends. Yes, I will tell you that this is absolutely true. The more times I send a joke or a meme in one of the Discord channels, I found the more likely someone else is to post one to follow it. So I really like that. Play with kids, also debatable, I will say. Like my child was playing this little game with a shark and a fishing pole, and just watching him play was really aggravating. But maybe that's just my kid. Put funny notes and quotes on a cork board. Watch a funny movie, TV program. Play with your pet. Pets might be better than kids in some cases. Absolutely true. Look through old mementos like notes, pictures, yearbooks. Just make sure that you're not going to go down a path of something that's going to actually make you sad. Oops, hang on, guys. I am muted. Just kidding. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Cookie Lady. It was my husband who's going to pick up Girl Scout cookies. So still cookie related. Okay. So the thing can read lips. Yeah, my captioner was hearing me at least. Write a list of things you're thankful for in life. Those gratitude journals really kick in quite often. Try laughter yoga. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I don't know about this, but I do have a resource for you if you're interested in learning more about laughter yoga. It sounds interesting. I just don't know. I just don't know how much I would put stock in that. Okay, so let's so physical health benefits. We talked about boosting immunity, lowering stress hormones, decreasing pain, relaxing your muscles, preventing heart disease, which is a really interesting one that I'll go into a little bit more as well. Some of the mental health benefits can be just adding joy and zest to life, easing your anxiety and tension, relieving that stress. Again, there's a physical stress and there's that mental stress, improving your mood and strengthening resilience. There's that resilience again. So, social benefits of laughter, it can strengthen your relationships. It can bring you closer together, it can attract you to other people. Interesting things on that coming up as well. It enhances teamwork, it helps diffuse conflict, and it promotes group bonding. So I've got quite a few of these to go into in more detail as well. Laughter yoga sounds too weird. Okay, it's interesting. There's a website for laughter yoga, which is really interesting, and it's it's specific exercises, and I had never heard of it before, and now I have, and now I will never forget what laughter yoga is, I don't think. Okay, so endorphins are your brain's self created feel good chemicals. There's a 2017 study published in the Journal of Neuroscience that shows that laughing with other people releases endorphins in the brain via your opioid receptors. Now, those opioid receptors are the highly addictive receptors, and it's things like heroin and other opioid drugs, hence them being called the opioid receptors, bind to. And that suggests that laughter actually induces a euphoria that is close to what a narcotic could do, but without the bad side effects that go along with it. And the more opioid receptors a given person has in their brain, the more powerful the effect of this. Now, I don't know how to increase those opioid receptors. I would be interested in learning a little bit more in of that. Like, is there a way to increase that? And I don't know if laughing more and in different ways can increase that, 'cause we're going to talk about that brain connectivity also, because that happiness and humor can improve your brain function. And there's evidence of increased connectivity in various parts of the brain in response to laughter. So as you laugh, different parts of your brain connect. Now, I don't know if that means that you can increase those opioid receptors as well, which would be pretty neat, but um, something to think about. There's the endorphin effect helps explain why social laughter is so contagious. That guy on the subway who's just laughing hysterically at his phone and other people starting to laugh along with him, spreading that endorphin release through groups promotes that sense of togetherness and safety. So if you see somebody laughing, the automatic assumption is that they are not in danger, which then puts your brain a little bit at ease. So showing, okay, they're not in danger. I'm in the same space. I'm not in danger. I can relax a little bit. Um, each brain in a social unit, so in any social setting, is a transmitter of those feelings, and it triggers the feel goods in other brains and then helps them laugh as well. It's like a game of brain endorphin dominoes, right? You see one person doing it, and then all of a sudden, if there's two people doing it, then all of a sudden there's three and four and five, and it just keeps going on and on. And so someone can start laughing, and even if nobody else knows why they're laughing, it's likely that somebody else is at least going to smile. There was a study done in 2013 that found differences in how we perceive endorphin dominance. Nice. My endorphins are better than yours, bitch. No. No. Dominoes, yes, like tick, tick, tick them down. I'm gonna laugh so my endorphins can establish dominance over yours. No, not really. That's, I don't think that's how it works. Maybe, I don't know. So, a study done in 2013 found differences in how we perceive joyous laughter versus taunting laughter versus tickling laughter. And each of those different kinds of laughter activates different connections in your brain regions. So, what all of that boils down to is that laughter makes your brain region connectivity more rigorous, and it kicks in when we hear a laugh because our brains then say, okay, wait, what kind of laugh is that? Is that a I'm being tickled laugh? Is that a nervous laugh? Is that a happy laugh? And so your brain's going, okay, figure out, figure it out, figure it out. And as it's figuring it out, it's going, is it this kind? Is it this kind? Is it this kind? So it's kind of connecting all of those a little bit better. No, I hate tickling. My husband doesn't understand this. So he's like, "Oh, but you're laughing. That can't mean that it's bad." Like, actually, I really hate to be tickled. And it's one thing, if my kid is doing something in my face, then versus when my husband is trying to really tickle my foot or something. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. My mom almost divorced my dad for tickling her once. Oh my gosh. I have two older sisters. Any laugh is a tickle laugh. Tickle laughter is involuntary. And so tickle laughter is actually a panic response. Is that not crazy? It is a panic response, legit. When I was a kid, I used to stop breathing when someone tickled me too much. It is. It's a panic. It's a panic response. Meant to draw attention to you. Okay, so your brain tries to figure out what sort of communication's coming through that laugh. It activates all those different parts of of you, and then if it's humor, your brain uh, has a neurotrophic factor that supports existing neurons and encourages the growth of new neurons and synapses. So you're actually, if you are experiencing a humorous laugh and not a tickle panic response laugh, then you are more likely to create the brain growth that's so good for you. Here's an interesting statistic for you. Women laugh 126% more than their male counterparts. But men instigate laughter the most, which I thought was really interesting. Women are more likely to laugh, but men are more likely to cause laughter. And women will rate a sense of humor as a top three trait for a potential mate, but men will rate women who laugh a lot higher than most who don't. And that laughter is more laughing at their jokes that they make. So it's no surprise that couples who laugh together report having higher quality relationships in general. We do a lot of stupid things, which gives you reason to laugh. There you go. Women are also more likely to laugh off a man's unwanted advance in order to shut it down. That's also true. That is also true. Um, so as your brain is creating all these new synapses and neurons and everything, the the act of laughing, activates the release of neurotransmitter serotonin, which is the same brain chemical affected by the most common types of antidepressants, which is SSRIs. The burst of brain activity that laughing triggers is very potent, at least for short periods of time. They are studying currently how long those effects those effects those effects last, but they at least last for a short period of time. And even going back to Freud again, he put forward that humor works by condensation and displacement and believed that cultivating a sense of humor could lift repression, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, um, nervous laughter can cause good brain things. We'll get into that here in just a minute, a little bit to an extent. All laughter can cause good things. There's not such a thing, as far as I can tell, as too much laughter. Now, in Jave's case, if it hurts and you're laughing and you stop breathing, then that is a problem. Um, but we'll get into some of the downsides here in just a minute. So, as far as heart health goes, laughter has an anti-inflammatory effect that protects blood vessels and heart muscles from the damaging effects of cardiovascular disease, which is still all connected, all related to lessening that body's stress response. Um, because your stress response immediately increases that inflammation. And laughter lowers blood pressure, epinephrine, and glucose levels, and it increases glucose tolerance. All of those are really cool things. Resilience, again, we've talked about resilience before and the importance of it and ways to increase your resilience. Laughter is one of the best ways to manage the perception of stress and to develop resilience and improve psychological sturdiness, as that is what strongly correlates with happiness. Laughing during a funny movie elevates your pain threshold and can help break the cycle between pain, sleep, loss, depression, and immunosuppression, which I thought was pretty interesting. And that increased humor in the period following the death of a spouse was found to promote greater emotional resilience. So if you can laugh through something, even if it's that anxious laughter, you're able to. I've got a little bit more on this a little bit later, but if you're able to laugh at something that isn't quite funny, that you're going through something that's hard, but even then you're able to find humor in the situation, that you're more likely to be able to deal with it in the long run. And those using more humor, even if it's dark humor in the case of the death of a spouse, were better able to keep those positive emotions distinct and separate from their negative emotions, which then equates to fewer depressive symptoms, which is pretty cool. So some other health benefits. It assists in the recovery and prevention of cancer by increasing natural killer cell activity, the response of gamma interferon and T cells, and improves the defense against respiratory infections. Humor and laughter produce a discharge of endorphins with both euphoric and calming effects, and then laughter relaxes your whole body. And it, like I said, here's that little statistic that I had. If you laugh for 2 minutes, you can relieve the physical tension and stress, causing it to leave your muscles relaxed for up to 45 minutes after you laugh. Just laughing for 2 minutes, whether it's real or fake, whether it's at yourself or someone else, or at a situation, or even at, just completely faking it. You can your whole body can be relaxed for 45 minutes after. So if you can laugh at yourself, that can also encourage healing, which I thought was pretty interesting. So W.S. Poland writes, there's a need to learn to laugh at oneself as an individual and also as a professional. And Dean goes as far as to cite humor as a characteristic necessary for a successful career in psychiatry, which I thought was pretty good. And then Patch Adams, which a lot of people don't actually realize was a real person. He was a physician and a clown, believed that humor and love were at the core of good bedside manner. Humor facilitates acceptance of traits in others that are unlikely to change. So if you can see something in someone else and instead of seeing it as a flaw, you can find something funny about it, not making fun of, but finding something funny in the situation. And then laughter helps you tame your inner critic that can demand unattainable standards, and it can also be used to boost self-esteem and buffer the self. So even if you have a flaw in yourself, if you can find something humorous about it, it's one of those things that you can oh, my chair is sinking. There we go. uh, if you can find something humorous in your own situation, then you're more likely to boost your self-image and boost your self-esteem, because then you're looking at it as something humorous instead of something bad. But the honest truth is that laughter isn't always positive and it is not always healthy. It can be classified into different types, ranging from genuine and spontaneous to simulated, fake, or stimulated by tickling, or induced by drugs, or even pathological. And a lot of those types of laughter, the reason that they're not healthy and not good is that they actually are caused by something else that has horrible side effects. So in the example of stimulation, there is a chance that you being tickled too much could cause you not to breathe, uh, or to start to cause you actual pain. If it's induced by drugs, there could be side effects to that. And if it's something pathological, there's a couple syndromes, pardon me, exhibiting uncontrolled emotion where it can prevent a lot of healthier behaviors from coming out. The actual neural basis of laughter is really not very well known. And what we do know about it comes from clinical cases. And there's one, so that syndrome that I was talking about was identified by Charles Darwin, and it involves an unsettling exhibition of uncontrolled emotion. So normally this is like super frequent, really involuntary, uncontrollable outbursts of laughing or crying. Could be either. It could be expressed in either way at any given moment, in either way. And it's really distressing because it's hard for the person to express how they're actually feeling when their physical response is either laughing or crying automatically, whether they're feeling something that is sad or funny at all in the slightest. And that is known as the pseudobulbar affect syndrome. And it basically arises from a disconnect between the frontal descending pathways in the brainstem, and those control the emotional drives and the circuits and pathways that govern facial and emotional expression. So there's two different things. There's two different things in your brain that control your face and what you're putting out, and then the other one controls what you're actually feeling inside. And whenever we talk about the strategies, that'll come out a little bit more in the importance of that. That disease is not something that you're necessarily born with. You can be born with it, but it's more likely to be caused by a traumatic brain injury or a disease like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. And there is a 2016 study that found that an increasingly twisted sense of humor and laughing at inappropriate times could be an early indication of dementia, which is a problem for me. At least the first part, a twisted sense of humor. But so what I take away from that is that it's the increasingly twisted sense of humor, as long as it doesn't all of a sudden go spiraling off into the world, it's probably fine. As long as I'm the same kind of twisted, same level of twisted. Oh boy. So that can be an early sign of dementia. If you find yourself, sitting at a funeral and laughing and you've never done that before, then probably you should go get tested for something. It's probably fine. Look, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine, okay? Oh, Lord. So, there are a couple of phobias as well related to laughing. Gelotophobia is an intense fear of being laughed at, and gelotophilia is the enjoyment of being laughed at. And there is another one called catagelasticism, and that is the joy of laughing at others. Now, of those, the phobia is the one that can develop really into an extreme joy sapping anxiety, and that can go from social ineptness to severe depression. And it could induce vigilant environmental monitoring for any signs of ridicule, so constant overthinking. And as we already know, I am an overthinker. My little anxiety brain likes to go, okay, well, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if? And in the case of this gelotophobia, it's one of those things that you go, what did they mean by that? Okay, but were they making fun of me? Like, or are they laughing at me? Are they ridiculing me? And it's into every tiny little interaction. And that could come from negative early life experiences of being teased, mocked, or laughed at. It's another one of those things that you hear about all about bullying now, and this is one of those things that anti-bullying campaigns can really help. So the other part is the fake it till you make it concept. We've all heard that, just like we've all heard laughter is the best medicine. Fake it till you make it. You could run into imposter syndrome if you get this where you're faking it till you make it. goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome a lot of the time. But if you're talking about laughter, while it can set a dangerous precedent, there is some weight behind it. But if you find yourself sinking into a mental health condition because you're faking laughing and faking being smiley and bubbly, then you should probably seek professional help anyway. Faking it until you make it only works when you can correctly identify something within yourself that is holding you back, which not everyone is equipped to do 100% of the time at all. Like, probably no one is equipped to do that 100% of the time. I don't always know what is holding me back as it relates to my daily struggles. If you try it and it works for you, awesome. If you are behaving like the person you want to become and you're trying to do that because you're wanting to change the way that you actually think, then great. Because acting as if you want to be this other person doesn't mean that you're being phony or inauthentic. It's really trying to change your behavior first and trusting that your feelings will follow. As long as your motivation is in the right place, faking it till you make it can effectively make your goals become reality. Just make sure you're interested in changing yourself on the inside and not trying to change other people's perceptions of you, because if you're relying on someone else to change their perception of you, you're setting yourself up for failure because you don't control that other person. You only control yourself. If you can control your behavior and hope that your mind and your feelings will follow, then that's something that you are more in control of. Doesn't always work, but more in control of. I really don't have any hangups over people talking about me or laughing at me. I really don't either, which actually really surprises me because I obsess over so much in my daily life. I'm just shocked that I don't. But yeah, I don't really worry about what other people think about me. I'm more worried about what the outcome of every interaction has had or could have had, which is a whole other separate issue. Okay, so even though we know there is a dark side to laughter, laughter generally induces those warm, fuzzy feelings. And we know that laughing enhances that cardiovascular function, it fortifies our immune system, it fortifies our endocrine systems, and we also know that the benevolent humor and the laughing with instead of laughing at others is especially rewarding to more than just ourselves, which is what we really need. And the way that our brain processes other people's laughter seems to indicate that laughing with someone has more emotional depth and is more pleasurable than laughing at them. Pardon me. So our brains are emotionally rewarding us with authentic happy signals whenever we laugh in that benevolent manner. So some laughter therapy has been shown to have very potent effects, including muscle workout, improved respiration, decreased stress and anxiety, and improved mood and resilience. It's even been shown to function similarly to antidepressants, like we said earlier, by raising that serotonin level. So regardless of your style of humor, as long as there is no underlying illness, laughter is likely to be the best medicine. So I've got some strategies. We're going to talk about laughter yoga, which I find really funny, and I probably shouldn't laugh at it, but that's okay. I'm sure it's really helpful for a lot of people. I had never heard of it before now, and I'm super excited that I did because I think it's interesting. So, whether it is real or simulated, laughter produces the same positive effects. Even if you're not really feeling that humor at first, like we said, you can do the behavior and hoping that the feelings will follow it. So, you can fake it, and then it often leads to the real thing. And Teresa Verde is a laughter leader and laughter yoga practitioner in Seattle. Some of this is from her. So this next little piece that I'm going to talk about is from her. So laughter yoga is designed to get people laughing together. It was created by a physician in 1995 And they use the word yoga because the mind body technique incorporates gentle stretching and yoga type breathing. As far as I can tell, that is the extent of the yoga part. It's chanting playful exercises like slapping your knee and chanting ho ho ha 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 at someone else, shaking hands with others and laughing while performing imaginary activities like making a phone call. And they might not seem particularly humorous whenever I say this out loud, but imagine that you're sitting here with me and we're all in a circle, right? And I am slapping my knee and saying, ho ho, ha ha ha. Like, you would start laughing, right? Even if I wasn't really laughing, laughing while pretending to make a phone call. It does sound like acting class. Yes, absolutely. So the group might laugh together for 40 to 60 seconds, but that's much longer than laughter following a joke, which is usually 2.5 seconds. Or if you're like me and you say LOL and then all you do is kind of breathe sharply out of your nose. Although there are some times where I actually do laugh out loud. I'm not going to lie. And the results of that class, however they measure this in laughter yoga, have been uh, showing significant improvements in positive emotions, reductions in severity of symptoms of stress, anxiety, and improved quality of sleep in patients suffering from Parkinson's disease. So, speaking of acting class, we all know that humor and literature and theater have been linked for all of history, right? So, black humor or gallows humor can qualify as support mechanisms in the presence of impossible situations or traumatic circumstances to relieve tension and cope with stress. If you are looking for something funny in a difficult moment, it can help you endure that difficult moment and it can help others to cope as well and therefore making it an altruistic thing as well. I have a sometimes really dark, twisted sense of humor. And like we said earlier, as long as I'm not spiraling into the space verse, I'm probably okay. So humor can have a place in therapy for generalized anxiety disorder, depression, social anxiety, can be part of interpersonal therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and it can help patients reframe their maladaptive thoughts, elevate mood, and overcome perceived obstacles, which is really cool. Can confirm EMS workers joke and laugh about horrible, dark things all the time to get through the traumas they see. Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm thinking I could probably use my dad as my reason for having a dark sense of humor because he was a fireman and paramedic. Surely it's his fault. Where'd my sister go? Oh yeah, true. Oh, so true. Just watch a Cards Against Humanity game. You'll find plenty of examples of dark humor. Absolutely. And some of those are really funny. We are all terrible. It's true. Can confirm. So, in a group setting like laughter yoga, okay, it strengthens your interpersonal relationships, promotes bonding, facilitates teamwork and cooperation, and diffuses conflict. It can convey a sense of humanity, can overcome barriers, and can build trust, encourage empathy, and it is even one of those universal communicators as well. Because if you're in almost no matter the culture, if you're laughing, you're conveying that joy and happiness with whatever situation you're in. Humor can differ from other cognitive based emotional regulation strategies because it doesn't deny your negative experience, but it helps you view it as less threatening. I think that is so important because if you can laugh at traumatic events in your life, you're not ignoring them. You are actually, through that laughter, through laughing at your traumatic experience, you are saying, I acknowledge that you are a traumatic experience. And I'm also acknowledging that I can find something to laugh at in this traumatic experience. And I can endure through this with playfulness and that perception of life's challenges as almost humorable. So one exercise that I will leave you with, besides going on YouTube and looking up that subway video where the guy's looking at his phone, or there's one where they try to eat that fish, that fish that's buried for forever. It's this family and they wind up oh, it's pretty bad. And then the one girl's just sitting there, did I get my bike? Oh, so right after you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and laugh. You can start with 10 or 20 seconds, not that long, and if you can, work your way up to 2 minutes. It's going to feel really weird at first. Thank you, Slay. I did drink some water. It's going to feel really weird at first, but if you can work your way up to that 2 minutes, it can get you going. It can give you an energy boost. It can relieve stress at the very beginning of your day, and it can help you feel good all day long. So I'm going to post my sources in the Discord as well. But what did you guys think? Was there anything that you found surprising in all of that? I think the laughter yoga was just a hoot. Oh. All right, let me post my sources real quick. There we go. Oh Lord, the laughter yoga one didn't actually go. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna leave it that way. I think it's fine. It's fine. We're fine. But yeah, I was really surprised at a lot of those dark sides of laughter. I didn't even know that there were so many things related to laughter that were actually diseases, or that twisted sense of humor could be an indicator of dementia. Or well, not all right, not twisted sense of humor. An an unusual rise in a twisted sense of humor. Let me restate, because it is not just the twisted sense of humor. Oh, the laughter yoga was weird. Sounded just like what we did in acting class. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because actors have to fake that laughter and have it seem authentic. So let me ask you, when you're in this acting class and you're doing the laughter parts of it, did you feel more of a sense of connectedness to your fellow actors, actresses? I like the explanation of gallows humor as reframing a trauma to seem non-threatening. And what I really love about that, Fee, is that not only are you using this dark sense of humor to reframe your trauma, but you're also saying, I acknowledge that this is actually a big deal and it is actually a trauma. Um, but also, I'm acknowledging that I can laugh at it, I can find the humor in it, and therefore I can endure, I can get through it. It's one of those, if you can find that, that's one indication that you have increased your resilience against that particular type of trauma, which I think is really cool. I think that's awesome that you can gauge your resilience against specific types of trauma based on whether or not you can find that humor. I think that's pretty neat. So, well, I definitely appreciated the suggestion for that topic. That was one that I didn't actually have on my project board. And then whenever it was suggested, I added it. I did get another one just today as well for the effects of procrastination on mental health, because I was telling someone that I hadn't decided what topic I was going to do this morning. And even though I've done some of the research on some of the topics, it still doesn't mean that I always know what I want to talk about at the beginning. So they said you should do one on procrastination and then just not do anything. It was in high school, but I guess so, yeah. To be honest, I felt weird about laughing about my grandpa almost dying last Christmas, but it makes sense now, yeah. So, I mean, you can also use that laughter as a can use that laughter as a little bit of a shield too. Use your sense of humor as that little bit of shield, and it just helps you deal with it a little bit as well. Not that I laughed about him almost dying, but my grandma's a notoriously horrible driver and they live in the snow. I was like, well, if he dies, at least we don't have to worry about grandma killing them both with her driving. Yeah, true. That is true. I like that. Sounds like something that I would say. I would be curious to know about the acting classes and whether or not there are any studies that have shown that the actors actually come together a little bit better after those exercises for a period of time. I wonder if that camaraderie is actually temporary or if it's enduring. I would be. Inquiring minds want to know. Uh, like that study on sports teams and touching. Exactly. Yeah. So just figuring out, how many times do they fist bump, that increases their likelihood of winning. I wonder if there is some sort of indicator for actors, actresses, or even support groups on how often they laugh and what the success rate is based on whatever it is that they're going on to do. I don't know. I might have to do a little more research after this. Oh, man. Okay. So we're going to. I appreciate you guys being here. First of all, let me do that one more time. I appreciate you guys being here for Mental Health Monday. I enjoyed this topic. I liked researching this topic as well. I thought that it was pretty good. I've got a few coming up. So the ones that I've got currently in the planning stage are procrastination and its effects on mental health, because I thought that one was really interesting and something that's directly impactful to me because I procrastinate all the time. All the time. Seriously. Finding purpose in life. That was another one that was suggested. And then dealing with trolls. That could be blatant online ones, subtle in real life ones. This actually came up recently because there was a Reddit user on the notorious Roast Me subreddit. And he said something like, teenager with crippling anxiety, uh, give me a reason to end it all, or something like that. And everyone actually came together and was really nice and sweet and said, "Hey, no, this is not okay," which I was really impressed in a pit of vipers on that subreddit that so many people were saying, "No, no." That is the place for trolls to go, right? Is to the Roast Me subreddit, and they actually pulled together. So dealing with trolls, I like that topic a lot. I feel like it's pretty timely, so I'll pull that one together too. So those are the three. I've got a whole bunch in the kind of brainstorming stage as well. If there is something that you want me to talk about, something you want me to do some research on, find some sources for, let me know. I've got all kinds of stuff, but if it's not on my board, I will put it up there, and if it is on my board, I will prioritize it. So to be honest, I only remember like four people from that class. One I'd known since I was five, and another I definitely did not like, but that was a whole other thing. Yeah. I mean, high school is kind of it's kind of its own world, isn't it? The internet's the best place ever and also the worst place ever. So true. So true. Very, very true.